A deadly accident on Virginia Beach Boulevard, and police say a car collided with a motorcycle.
So take a look at the damage, guys. It was a very gruesome crash. You can see the car's door completely ripped off. The motorcyclist died, and the other two people are now in the hospital. So this happened just after 11 o'clock last night at Wexford Drive in Virginia Beach. That's between Newtown Road and Witch Duck Road. 13 News Now reporter Megan Shin is live at that scene. And Megan, what are the conditions of the people who made it to the hospital?
Well, you guys, police say that two people were inside the car on this road. Now police believe that those two people face life-threatening conditions, and police say that the motorcyclist was driving down here very fast when he hit that car, or he or she hit that car, and died on the scene. Now investigators believe that that motorcyclist was going so fast it flipped the car with two people inside. Authorities say the cyclist drove west on Virginia Beach Boulevard when it ran into the car turning left onto Wexford Drive. The two people inside the car are now at the hospital, and the Virginia Beach Police Facts team is still investigating this whole situation, a very tragic situation. Stay with us for 13 News Now Daybreak for the latest information and condition of the two people inside that car, and also online at 13newsnow.com. Reporting live in Virginia Beach, I'm Megan Shin. Back to you guys.